Hello knitters, Faye Lynn from Strands Knitting Studio in San Clemente, California. And today I have some new yarn. I have what I'm wearing. I have a sweater class, and I have how to get your pattern ready to knit. Stay tuned. Yay, it's the Brioche. So we had the Brioche class last weekend, and this weekend I got my thing, Let's start with what I'm wearing. Yay, my Brioche cowl is done. So we had the Brioche class on Sunday, and I finished it, and it turned out so cute. This is a cotton yarn, so it's really soft and cuddly. It's a lighter weight than obviously a wool would be. And yeah, so this is a lot of fun. We had fun figuring this out. Now, when you start this, if you haven't done Brioche, you get to do just the straight Brioche for a while, get that down before you end up doing the little patterning that it does up here with double decreases and stuff like that, which is a process, but not a hard process, yeah. But anyway, so it's done, and I made it out of Jody Lung's cottontails. And so yeah, come in, take a class. I'll teach you how. Okay, so the next class coming up is Saturday the 29th, and it's a sweater class. And like I said last week, I'm going to sort of switch up the sweater class to being how to start your sweater perfectly, or how to start your sweater right. I really haven't titled it yet. But instead of being a very specific sweater, even though I have some suggestions of what you could do for this upcoming one, but you can bring any sweater that you want to get started with the few things that I ask you to bring, like a swatch, a good 6-inch swatch, and a piece of clothing that measures the way you want this, whatever your sweater or cardigan is, the measurements you want it to do. Length may be different, but you can always add length easily in sleeves and length. So mostly it's the width numbers that are really important. And bring those to class with your pattern. We'll do the math, get you going, and get it set up so that you have a successful sweater. So that's what the sweater class is so you can have a successful sweater. And it's not that I won't see you again, because the one thing besides starting it correctly, the one thing that makes a sweater successful is constantly trying it on as you go, if possible, or laying it on top of the piece of clothing that you've measured it to. Like if it's in pieces and you have front and back and you can't try that on, you're laying it down on top of whatever it is you measured and see if it's measuring correctly. That's what makes a successful sweater. One of the big major things that makes a successful sweater. So anyways, Saturday the 29th at 10 o'clock, and just bring your sweaters. Now the two sweaters that we're going to highlight is, one is the Tokyo sweater, which is for child up to 24, so it's like newborn up to 24 months. And it's a bigger yarn. We did it out of bud. It's a cute, 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 cute sweater. I have people that have made multiples of these. Yeah, so we got the Tokyo sweater. And then the other suggestion we have is the Cancun sweater, but we're doing it out of, I'm gonna have to go, I thought I had it, but I don't. So here's Cancun, which is just a rectangle. It's a rectangle, and this particular one has lace panels in it. And that's what the Cancun is. It has lace panels. This one's with less ease. Is that the right side? Which is up? This is up. Okay, with ease, a lot less ease, and it's got the sweater panels. So we have this yarn that's a slubby, it's a t-shirt yarn, it's cotton, it's very soft, and it has a slubby and a thin, so you'll see big thick stitches and little thin stitches, big holes, little holes. It is a no, like it's, except for dropping a stitch, you can't drop a stitch. But other than that, man, it would be hard to make a mistake in this. So, and we do have this color now, so if you like the green, we have the green. And so you're just making two rectangles. So we'll measure again, get the measurement you want for the width of the triangle, the rectangle, and the length. You'll need the width and the length, and you're gonna make two of those. So the shoulders, so the it's from the underarms down, and you have a summer sweater. And if you want to put on sleeves, mine I'm gonna put on drop shoulder It's a drop shoulder, so I'm gonna put it on sleeves for my drop shoulder. And yeah, so you can do sleeves too if you want to add. I'm gonna probably put 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch sleeves. And but this is like I'm on my 13, so you're gonna be on an 11 or 13 depending on which fabric you want to be able to be on. And this is gonna be pretty fast. So come in, but we've already sold quite a few of them last week after I talked about this and showed everybody. So come in, we got plenty of yarn still. It takes a minimum of 4 skeins, and then it just depends on how long, how big, sleeves, no sleeves, those kinds of things will change how many skeins you're gonna need. But minimum 4, just for 2 rectangles in like a medium to small size. And then, yeah, so sweater class. So those 2 are possible, but you can do any sweater. I'm also going to remind you about our bobble sweater, which I'll put up here, which is out of a Noro. It is the cutest things ever. Everybody that's made this, it's just an adorable sweater. And it's a lightweight sweater. It's a wool sweater, so it's more of a spring into fall kind of thing. But it's adorable on. It really is adorable on. And bobbles aren't scary. They can be fiddly, but they're not scary. And some people love bobbles and some people don't. So maybe you knit a little swatch with some bobbles and see if you have one that loves them. And then this sweater would be really good. And the other sweater I'll remind you of is the Weekender. And I'll put a picture up here, which we did out of the Hoodie silk and wool and silk blend in these natural colors. And hold on. Okay, back. So the Hoodie, this is the colors we have. These are natural New Zealand wool. And these are the colors that come off the sheep along with silk. And as I've said while I was making the sweater, it feels more like silk than wool. Even though it's only 35% silk, it feels like it's very silky feeling. And it just knit, it was a gorgeous Weekender. It's gorgeous. So those are some ideas for sweaters. If you have a sweater, baby sweaters, obviously, anything like that. So if you have a sweater that you want, just come in, sign up, and we'll, make sure you know what you need to start the class. It's 2 weeks away. Or it's a week and a half away. Week and a half away, and it's May. So that's the sweater classes coming up on the 29th, Saturday, 10 o'clock. So our new yarn, we have zauberball in the house, and it's fingering weight, and what it's famous for is extremely long striping sequences. And yeah, and they've got several different kinds. And I'm going to put some pictures up so you can sort of see what it is, how it knits up and what it is, and what people use it for. So obviously it's fingering weight. So this is, you can do this for obviously socks, but mostly it's like a lot of shawls, cowls, hats, mitts, those kinds of things, tons of shawls. And clothing, sweaters and stuff, baby stuff. It's actually really cute for baby stuff. So it's very multicolored. So you can see how much purple much purple there is here before it starts transitioning to the other aquarine blue color. That's what it's known for. So this is regular zauberball, and it's solid color. It's one color. This is what they call crazy zauberball, which has the look of a hand spun. So when you hand spin stuff and you apply it, it often has this 2-color thing going on, which makes the stripes that now have a ton of different movement in them, and not just solid colors, but colors are moving a lot in a lot of things. So, and then we have some solids. I think we have 5 colors of solids. And yep. So with that, yep. Nope. How about this one? I don't know if I pulled. Yeah, that would be good. So that means you can also stripe with this and this, and you end up with it's really pretty. So what I'm going to do, you can also double this. And I think doubling finger weight, and obviously you could double this like that. And that would make the striping a little less, you'd still see it, but it wouldn't be as prominent. It'll fade it back a little bit. And that gives you a DK weight. So if you double your fingering, that gives you DK weight. It is not hard to work with doubling a yarn. You just treat it as one yarn, and it really is not that hard. But that gives you just more variety of what you can accomplish in it. So anyway, so I don't know what we're gonna do with it. We gotta do something with it as far as getting a sample going. Not sure what that'll be yet, because we just got it in. But yeah, so here are some pictures. of what people have done with it so you can get an idea of what it is. We have lots and lots of colors of all three types, the crazy one, the regular one, and the solids. So come in, check it out. It's soft, it's fun, and it's colorful. So patterns. So patterns have, yeah, there's a language. You do need to learn how to read them, but you can start very simple. There's some very simple patterns that you start with just have a couple things that you do, and you just slowly over time, it's a language. It's a whole language. And so you slowly over time, you know, start to be able to read all the different symbols and what these words mean and that kind of thing. But there is also a way to get your pattern ready to knit so that you end up not missing things in your pattern. You know you can do it. Just the thought processes that go behind picking patterns. Now I'm not going to go into too much about picking patterns for sweaters or fitted things, because that's a lot about what yarn, that's about yarn substitution actually. So I'm not going to talk about that so much because that's a whole other thing. But this is just like a pattern. You've got the yarn, you know, like you've got the yarn that the pattern's called for. So you know the yarn's good, and you just need to now figure out how to read this pattern. So the first thing, while you're looking for patterns, there's places to look for patterns like Instagram, Pinterest, Etsy, and of course Ravelry. And they all have patterns, free patterns, paid patterns. So finding the pattern. So then, if possible, and it is possible on Ravelry, and it's very rare that there isn't a pattern, you might find it on Etsy or Pinterest or something. You get the name of the pattern, it's probably on Ravelry too. So go into Ravelry and look at the people's projects who have knitted this pattern, and see what it looks like on real life people and how the knitting up goes and stuff. You learn a lot by looking at what real people did with the pattern and how it fits on them. And then you can find people with your body shape and see how does it fit on them and what they did. And so looking at the projects is huge way of eliminating or picking out patterns. Because there'll be patterns I love, and then I look at and nobody's looks good. I'm like, okay, this pattern is no. And then there's some patterns that, I mean, everybody looks good in it. This is a great pattern. It looks good on pretty much everybody, as long as they knit it correctly, and you know, yeah. So finding a pattern. So then the next thing, after you got the the visual done, you need to read the description and see what it says about it, because a lot of times they go very much in, this is top down raglan, so no seaming except maybe the underarms, with ease. This pattern wants 10 inches of ease. This pattern needs to be no ease, like body form, or negative ease, where it actually comes in on your body. That there'll be a difficulty range from easy to very difficult. So where does it fall in there? Reading through the projects and seeing if anybody had issues. Oh my God, I could not figure this out, or it took me forever to figure this out, and things like that. So read the description, because it will tell you a lot about what's going on. Then if you finally decide, okay, I want this one, I got the yarn that goes with that pattern, or I know I have a substitute yarn that's going to go with this pattern, and it's all good. Then you need to print out the pattern, and you're going to make some highlights. Okay, so here I have a really simple free baby pattern, pullover pattern, and I'm just going to go over some of these things about patterning that you want to pay attention to when you're starting a new pattern. So this particular one has all the information about where the pattern comes from, especially since it's a free pattern. Up here, the name of the pattern, name of the designer, and then you have materials. And this one's actually laid out pretty well, so there's some that aren't laid out as well as this, but since this is for like a beginning knitter, they were kind. So materials, you need a cascade yarn that's worsted weight, which is a worsted errant, which is sort of a medium weight yarn. And you need the skein. The skein comes with 240 yards per skein. So with that, you need 1, 2, or 3, depending on what size you're going to use. So the yardage is important, because that tells you need that many yards. So like if you're using a different, ooh, that smeared. If you're using a different yarn that has only like 120 yards on a skein, you'll need more skeins, because we'll round that up to 250. So that's 500 yards basically is what you need. And so if it has 120, you'll need 4 skeins instead of 2. So so that you want the yardage. This particular one is all acrylic. And yeah, so that tells you how much. Now sizing is down here, and has 1, 2, 3, 4 sizes. So approximate age 0 to 6 months, 6 to 12, 1 to 2, and 2 to 3. And that gives you a chest measurement. Here's the thing with doing baby stuff. You always make it bigger than you make it the bigger size. So if it's, I don't make anything 0 to 6 because they grow out that. So I would start at 6 to 12. And 12 months, of course, is the same as 1 year. So if they're already like, 9 months, I would be making the 1 to 2 year. So you always upsize. They can always wear something a little big, roll up sleeves, whatever, and they can wear it longer. So always upsize your baby patterns. And then the gauge is 20 stitches equals 4 inches in stockinette, which is knit a row, purl a row. That is a very typical worsted weight gauge. And we're on a size, did it tell us? Yes, it did tell us, sorry. We need a set of 7 to 8. So this depends on your gauge. And again, babies also, you don't have to be as exact about gauge if you're going to make it bigger. So you can just use the 7 or the 8 and like the fabric it's getting, make the bigger size, you're good. Unlike an adult sweater, this gauge thing really matters. And a 16 or 24 inch circular needle. And then you need 3 buttons, 1/2 to 3/4 inches. Okay, so that's the supplies you need. These are the sizes we have. There's your gauge. And then here's your stitch dictionary. So these are the stitches you'll need to know. And these are the abbreviations for the stitches that will be in this pattern. So you got knit into the front and back of the same stitch. Now, if you ever get to one of these KFB, you can put into YouTube KFB knitting, and so it'll come up with somebody showing you how to do it. So if you're like, if you don't know what that is. Place a marker, PM, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 2 stitches together, 2 by 2 ribbing, and knit 2, purl 2. Okay, so that's the stitch dictionary. Those are the stitches you need to know how to do and know what that means to knit this sweater. Okay, then, yeah, it almost fits my camera. This sweater, this is your description. Okay, this sweater is worked flat, back and forth on circular needles to start with, and all sizes are worked identically for quite a while. So there's not much difference in the sizing. They all start the same. So there's only one cast on, that is sort of unusual to have one cast on. Usually if you've got a bunch of different sizes, you have a different cast on. But you cast on is 62 stitches. You're going to knit 3 rows. So right now, nothing's too terribly, I might go, okay, cast on just so that I can find it and I don't have to go looking for it again. And then you're going to do knit 3 rows, and then you're going to do this where it's knit 13, place a marker, PM, place a marker, knit 9, place a marker, knit 18, place a marker, knit 9, place a marker, knit 13. And she actually sort of tells you how you've lined what these sections are. So the knit 13, there's 13 slashes there. That's the front of the sweater. This is the arm or the shoulder. This is the back. This is the arm. This is the front. And those are your 4 markers. Okay. And then buttonhole row. Now, buttonhole rows are important. There are actually 3 buttons on this. So you want to make sure you don't miss buttonhole rows. So, and then you follow this and knit to 2 stitches, repeat at each of the 4 stitch markers. So this is your increase row. You're going to repeat this part. Knit to 2 stitches before the marker, knit front and back, knit 1, slip the marker, knit front and back. And you keep repeating that all 4 markers until you're all 4 markers, okay? I'm not going to go too much. It's hard for me just to not explain this to you while we're doing it. And then the next row is knit 4, purl to the 4 stitches to the end and knit 4, okay? Then you're going to repeat rows 2, rows 3, rows 2. Okay, the other thing I didn't, so far we don't have anything different in the sizing. But we're going to pretend like we're doing the 6 to 12 months. So that's what we're looking for. So far, we have no differences, as she said. Okay, work these 6 rows a total of 3 times. So this is a repeat of these 6 rows 3 times. And so I might go ahead and put a 1, a 2, and a 3 here so that I can cross them out when I'm done. So as soon as I do this 6, I'd cross out the 1, and then I'd do it again, I'd cross out the 2, and do it again, and cross out the 3. Okay? And now the sweater will be knitting around. So you'll be doing this by using the last 4 stitches of the row, la 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 la. And she actually does this right here instead of highlighting, but you could still highlight underneath it. Make sure you get what she says now. Sweater is now joined in the round with the button band marking the beginning in each round. Okay, then you're gonna knit. Okay, now for the first time we have sizing. Okay, so anytime you see a string of numbers like this and a parentheses, those are for different sizes. So now we'll go back here to the size. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sizes. My camera, no, I'm not. 1, 2, 3, 4 sizes. We're doing size, the second size. Here's the parentheses. So this is the first one outside the parentheses. So we're the size, the first size inside the parentheses, or the second size in the string. So here's the first size is the 4. There's the parentheses. So we're knitting the 6. So whatever that is, 6 times. We're going to do, and that's what you're going to sit and highlight. It is really, as I said, this is sort of easy, but when you get big, long strings of numbers, please highlight them. Also, by highlighting at least this right here, you will remember what size you're making, because sometimes you go, oh, wait, what size was I making? If you put it down for like a couple months and pick it up, oh, what size am I making? Okay, so at least mark the size you're making at the beginning of the sweater. But I would go, anytime there's strings of numbers, I would be marking them. Even sometimes they're for inches and inches and not stitches. This is how many times you're going to repeat something, and we should have 48 stitches at the end. Okay, now separate for sleeves. That's a new section. Okay, and knit into the marker waste yarn. I won't explain that right now. Knit your third stitch. So you just are going to read this and do it as you read it. And then knit sweater body. So knit every round until sweater measures. And here's our numbers. So we're on the 9.5 inches. Okay, so we're on 9.5 inches. And then you're going to work 8 rounds. So again, by 2 by 2 ribbing. So I might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have my 8 rounds here mapped out for me, so that I can then just, cross them off as I do it. And then 8 rounds of 2 by 2 ribbing. Okay, bind off, excuse me, bind off your stitches. Okay, then we're going back to the sleeves. So now we gotta go pick up the sleeves. And you're gonna pick up 2 to 4 stitches in the armpit, close the hole, join the yarn, knit into the round. And again, here's our string of numbers for inches. So we're doing that until we've got 2.5 inches from the armpit. And then we're gonna again work 8 rounds of ribbing. So then again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds of ribbing. And then you'll do the same thing for the second sleeve. And then you will weave in ends and do all that stuff and you're done. Hooray, put it on the baby quick before they stop letting you dress them. So this is an extremely simple pattern, but that gives you an idea of what I'm talking about when you have to do the highlighting of the different things that are going on in your pattern. And, you read through that now, and now you're like, okay, I'm sort of ready to, start this and get it going. And I can at least do cast on 62 and knit 3 rows. I know I can do that. And then I know I can knit 13, place a marker, knit 9, I know I can do that. And then a buttonhole, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over. Okay, I might have to look up that if I'm a new knitter and I don't quite understand that. But just go, knit 2 together, yarn over into YouTube and it'll be there. Or come to a class, obviously. You can always come to a class. And then knit 2 stitches, I can do that. So there you go. So that's how you would mark up a pattern. This is a very simple pattern, but that gives you the basis of how you would mark up a pattern. And let me pull out a chart real quick and I'll show you that one too. Okay, so here's a simple little cable pattern. I could get the whole page on at one time. So here is the key to the cable pattern. And I'm gonna have to take this off. My arm here is too fixed. So anyways, here's the key to the pattern. And as you see, it shows you the sign symbol, and then it tells you what to do. So like this green one at the top is slip 1 to cable needle to back, knit 2 on the left needle, purl from cable needle. Okay, and you have 4 of them. And then that's a knit and purl. These are for knits and purls only. And here is your cable pattern. So you'll be knitting along, row 1 down here. You always start in the lower right-hand corner, knitting along. You hit the green one. You go down here to the bottom where the green is, and it tells you what to do, okay? Then you're gonna immediately do a pink one, and now you go to the pink one, and it tells you what to do. And then you're purling, purling, purling. Then you got the green, the pink, the green, the pink. So see the whole line here, and if you'll notice, and lots of times this happens with cables, is there's a rhythm here. You know, you have a bunch of green ones, a bunch of pink, green, pink. So you sort of get used to this. Matter of fact, this whole thing is green and pink, except for these 2 purple and these 3 yellow. And do you see that? And then over here it switches green and pink here, and it goes green and pink. Green and pink is the opposite over here. Okay, so that's how you would mark it up though, because if it's not marked up, the symbols sort of all blend together, and it's hard sometimes to go, oh, what is that one? But as soon as you mark it up, it becomes really clear what's happening. And lace will do the same thing. Maybe not quite so dramatic as a cable is, because cabling is so geometrical, but you get a rhythm to the pattern, and you can sort of catch what's happening in the pattern way more than you could ever do in written, if it was just written instructions, or if you hadn't marked it up. Because if I hadn't marked this up, you would not visually be able to get what's happening here as quickly as we could get it, because we marked it up. So marking up any of your charts is a really, really good idea. And then once you're ready to go, then you're just going to cast on. You've highlighted your pattern. You've got all the little transition parts out so you don't just whip right through them. And you're ready to start your pattern. And hopefully you'll have a good success with it. Not 100% guaranteed. Nothing about knitting is 100% guaranteed. But you're armed to have the best experience you can have with your pattern. Okay, and I think that's it for this week, and it's warming up, yay, and I hope to see you in the studio real soon. Bye.